It's creepy, it's kooky, it's altogether spooky, as the Democrats held yet another debate. This time it was debate number 4, or more aptly named, Dumber by the Dozen, as 12 candidates took the stage in Ohio to continue their quest to socialism. Let's break it all down. I'm Katie Petrick, and this is Healthy Republic. The good news is there's only one of these debates every month. The bad news is I still have to watch them. This month's debate was just as Looney Tunes as last month's, and it was 3 hours of my life sucked away. But this time, we had 2 more characters, as Tulsi Gabbard made it back on stage, and for the first time, Tom Styer, though you wouldn't have known he was there since no one let him talk. I mean, he's a white male billionaire after all.
No one on this stage wants to protect billionaires. Not even the billionaire wants to protect billionaires.
But before we get to the lowlights of the evening, we have to show you what has happened as the debate train continues to run off the tracks. In a nutshell, since the debate just last month, Joe Biden and son Hunter spent the past few weeks defending against any wrongdoing involving Ukraine and turning their defense onto Trump's impeachment inquiry. Bernie had a heart attack and was endorsed by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Not sure which one is worse. Beto doubled down that he's attacking Christians and anyone against the LGBT agenda. He promises to withdraw tax-exempt status if they oppose same-sex marriages. Then there's Elizabeth Warren, who talked about being pregnant and how she supposedly got fired, but not really. But she's claiming she was. But again, not really. Anyway, now that we're caught up to insanity, let's look at debate number 4's lowlights.
In my judgment, Trump is the most corrupt president in the history of this country.
Impeach President Trump.
Impeachment. Corrupt president.
No choice but to begin an impeachment proceeding.
That's what this nation needs in what is a moral moment and not a political one.
Do gotta go.
I think that's taste enough. From the very first question, they were tossing eggs on each other and trying to claim Trump's impeachment as the moral, just, inevitable, correct thing to do. It also became quickly apparent this bunch of Democratic candidates for president does not like candidates who are 1/10/24 Cherokee Indian. Being the frontrunner on the debate stage, Pocahontas had the arrows slung at her all night.
Senator Warren is more focused on being punitive or pitting some part of the country against the other.
Simply because you have different ideas doesn't mean you're fighting for regular people.
Saying this is a rules problem is ignoring the reality that Americans see around us every single day.
Ugh. But it's okay, because Warren has a clear plan.
So the way I see this, I put forward a plan. So let me be clear on this. I have a plan to fix that. So I have made clear what my principles are here. I have been out all around this country. I've done 140 town halls now, been to 27 states and Puerto Rico. Should have done 70,000 selfies, which must be the new measure of democracy.
So, you have taken 70,000 selfies. How very narcissistic of you to count. One thing that was clear throughout the night was that Joe Biden did not have a plan for how to put together a coherent thought. And that was actually pretty sad to watch.
I would eliminate the capital gains tax. I would raise the capital gains tax to the highest rate of 39.5%. I would double it. Because guess what? Why in God's name should someone who's clipping coupons in the stock market, you must register that weapon. You must register it. When you register it, the likelihood of it being used diminishes exponentially. I'm the only one that got moved to make sure that we could not. One of the reasons I am running is because of my age and my experience. With it comes wisdom. And this is one of the reasons why these debates are kind of crazy.
After that performance, there's only one thing to say, Joe.
Baby, bye, bye, bye.
Like the NSYNC boys, Bernie was also on full tilt. After the heart attack 2 weeks ago, he made sure to seem edgy, young, and hip without breaking one of his own. He was aggressive, or as aggressive as a 78-year-old man who just had a heart attack could be. All about his Medicare for All bill and claiming that climate change will kill us all. So it was a usual night for him as a true believer.
I want to start. We're moving on, Senator. I'm
healthy.
sorry.
I'm feeling great, but I would like to respond to that question. We cannot afford to continue this level of income and wealth inequality, and we cannot afford a billionaire class whose greed and corruption has been at war with the working families of this country for 45 years. So if you're asking me, do I think we should demand that the wealthy start paying, the wealthiest, top 0.1%, start paying their fair share of taxes so we can create a nation and a government that works for all of us? Yes, that's exactly what I believe.
Thank you, Bernie, for espousing your beliefs. Just remember, kids, it's not all rainbows and unicorns.
Is anybody besides me thinking our happier and stronger life was actually code for nastier and suckier?
The Communist Manifesto was on full display, per usual, as was the full shame of having made something of yourself, or even knowing someone who made something of themselves in this, the freest country on earth. Oh, the shame. Tom Styer decided he must apologize for being a billionaire.
And the results are as shameful as Senator Sanders says, both in terms of assets and in terms of income. It's absolutely wrong. It's absolutely undemocratic and unfair. I was one of the first people on this stage to propose a wealth tax. I would undo every Republican tax cut for rich people and major corporations.
What a wiener.
Speaking of a wiener, Cory Booker just wanted everyone to get along.
This has got to be about patriotism and not partisanship. I understand the outrage that we all feel, and how we talk about each other in this debate actually really matters. Tearing each other down because we have a different plan, to me, is unacceptable.
Oh, and then he had to let everyone know just how healthy he is and how unhealthy President Trump is.
I feel qualified to say this as the vegan on the stage. Going back to the fact that it's rich to me that we asked 3 people about their health. When looking at this stage, we know that the most unhealthy person running for the presidency in 2020 is Donald Trump.
Are you hiding a cheeseburger anywhere on your person?
I don't eat meat.
Why does Booker always sound like he's running for ideal camp counselor instead of president? I just don't get it. And then there were the awkward moments from Amy Klobuchar.
This wasn't meddling. That's what I do when I call my daughter on a Saturday night and ask her what she's doing. Sorry. It makes Russia great again. It's hard to get a drink around here anyway.
And we can't leave out the one and only Beto, who continued to fumble around about how he plans to take back everyone's legally owned guns.
So if the logic begins with those weapons being too dangerous to sell, then it must continue by acknowledging with 16 million AR-15s and AK-47s out there, they are also too dangerous to own. Every single one of them is a potential instrument of terror.
Yeah, I'll spare you the rest of that because he never really got to the point other than to say he believes Americans will do the right thing. And if they don't, then there will be consequences. His real aim, obviously, was to get as much face time as he could.
This is the moneymaker. I'm not that good of an actor. This is how I get the jobs. I know that. I'm man enough to admit it.
It was pretty clear from the beginning that of all the candidates, Tulsi Gabbard was most not like the others. After all, she's not even from the contiguous United States. She's from the islands, where everyone goes to suntan and drink pina coladas. A happy place, if you will. And because she had any semblance of common sense, CNN did its due diligence in cutting off Gabbard or not letting her speak whenever they had the chance.
I'd like to start with Senator Warren. What her experience and background is.
I'm sorry, thank you. We're going to take another break now. The CNN New York Times debate live from Otterbein University here in Ohio.
There's a bigger issue here.
Turning to women's reproductive rights.
When they did turn to women's reproductive rights, Gabbard was most logical on the abortion issue, and that's simply because she said abortion should have restrictions within the 3rd trimester. That's the measuring stick for candidates. Not if they kill babies, but the timing of it. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris had to get her opportunities in to talk about killing the innocent, which she did.
And not nearly one word with all of these discussions about health care on women's access to reproductive health care, which is under full-on attack in America today. And it is not an exaggeration to say women will die.
Yes, baby females will die at the hands of the likes of Planned Parenthood. You are correct. Now, Kamalama Ding Dong must have been preaching at the pulpit before the debate, because even before her abortion comment, she brought fire to the stage with a little Southern twang thrown in for good measure.
I don't really think this impeachment process is going to take very long, because as a former prosecutor, I know a confession when I see it.
Girl, preach.
Woo!
By the end of the night, when I was contemplating reaching for a bottle to drink from or to throw across the room, I wondered if any of the candidates would later reflect on what they said to the American people.
Anybody else want to take back their offer? Yeah, there we go.
The kids will, but these candidates won't, because they simply can't think beyond their own narrow focus of beating Donald Trump.
They are loyal only to their own bottom line.
Precisely. So they'll lie, cheat, and steal to make it happen. They're politicians. That's just how they do. I now remind you, dear friends, that I will not be covering the next debate. Sad, I know. I will have been saved by the upcoming birth of my child. And anyway, I'd rather listen to a baby's wailing than any of those candidates. So make sure to share this video as a reminder of how to be dumber by the dozen. Until next time, stay healthy, America.